I normally do intros explaining what I'm about to talk about, but because this is based on recent and upcoming quests, this intro is instead gonna serve as a spoiler warning. If you haven't played the recent story quests and don't want to be spoiled, do not watch this video. You should also be aware that what I'm about to talk about may potentially spoil the next batch of story quests for you, so consider yourself warned and proceed with caution. But now, let's get started. We got new main story quests! Yay! Now, excitement aside, let's actually digest what happened here. Fripp is back, which makes us one step closer to our battle against evil. But now Anne is gone with the 5-leaf clover. So what is she up to? At first glance, it may look like she's just trying to save the day on her own, but I think she's up to something bigger. So to start out, let's do a little recap of Anne's role in these new quests. She starts out being furious that things are taking too long and expresses her issues with this whole situation. We then get rushed to Fripp's chamber because he's fading, and we start brainstorming ideas for how to save him. That's when our character brings up the 5-leaf clover that we took from Idris. Anne questions what's so special about this clover, in which the other explain that it's capable of working powerful transformation, that Pi used clovers like this to create dark horses, and that according to Idris, this particular clover has a lot of potential. Anne seems very interested in this information, and the next thing we know, she has stolen the clover and ran off on her own. So what exactly is Anne planning to do with this clover? Well, ever since coming out of the crystal, and especially during these quests, there's only been one thing driving her, and that is Concord. Her main motive has always been avenging her horse, and she's hardly ever portrayed thinking about anything else. So what do you think goes through her mind when she learns about this magic 5-leaf clover that can transform horses? She wants to use it to bring back Concord. She even says it early on in these quests that she just wants her best friend back. In this context, I feel like that's very obvious foreshadowing. Okay, this is a natural connection to make, but how can we be sure? Well, let me bring in some other evidence. First of all, it's essential for the story for Concord to grow up into a guardian horse. She can't go into battle as a foal. But remember, we don't have time to wait for it to happen naturally. 2 months have passed in the story, and it will take years for her to be ready. The story would never progress. So they do need to find a way to age her up, and we have the perfect setup right in front of us. Second of all, this is backed up in the game files, where Concord is specifically described as a foal. Why do they need to specify her life stage in the codes, if this is the one and only Concord we have in the game? No, this suggests that there will be another version that is not a foal. This is the foal version, and there will be an adult version. Notice how the other 3 don't have such things in their codes. Very suspicious. And lastly, there's the way that Mrs. Holdsworth reacted to Anne's actions. She knew that this would happen, but didn't say a word about it. And what was her explanation? You can't stop what needs to happen. I'm sure that if this was nothing but a reckless attempt for Anne to save the day on her own, Mrs. Holdsworth would have warned us and we would rush out to stop her. But no, this needs to happen. So much so that they're willing to risk Fripp's life for it. If that doesn't raise any flags, then I don't know what does. So I assume that a lot of you got eager now and want to know, does this mean that they're bringing back the original Concord? After all, that's the Concord she wants, and she doesn't connect with the new one, right? I'd say it's possible. And Anne did say she was happy that Concord could enjoy being a foal and not face the responsibility of being a guardian yet. But as much as I'd like for this to be the case, I don't think it is. They have gone through all the fuss of finding the new Concord, the gender change, building her character and making us fall in love with her. And for what? If they bring back the original Concord, all of this would be meaningless, and there would be no point in having the full version in the first place. They don't just spend all that time and effort on a story-changing character for it to be replaced later on. No, they're gonna keep the Concord that they made, but they're gonna grow her up. Okay, so to add to this theory, we can also dig into the possibility of how Anne is gonna do this. I mean, yeah, she has the 5-leaf clover, but Evergrey does say that they need a witch to make it work, which is why they call in Mrs. Holdsworth in the first place. So who's gonna help Anne if not Mrs. Holdsworth? I guess Pi is a pretty obvious go-to answer. She's an old druid who already have experience with these clovers, and she's good now. But other than her, there are many witches around Jorvik that could help Anne. Maybe her mother knows someone who can help. But there's one character that fits perfectly into all of this, because they are known for their part in the Saving Fripp quest chain. And that character is Mazarine. You may never have heard of this character, as she has only ever been portrayed in the Star Stable magazine back in 2018. We had this concept art of her as well as a character description. So she's a witch from the other side of Jorvik that was supposed to partake in our mission to save Fripp. Mrs. Holdsworth was her mentor, and her pet is a magic cat that can be turned into a horse. I mean, what? I want this character! Honestly, I was kinda disappointed when she didn't show up to help us save Fripp, but that's why I'm thinking that this is a perfect opportunity to bring her in, right? I mean, evidence is kinda hard to come by since this is literally the only information we have about her, but one of the key points about her is that she'll be introduced at this point in the story. So, will she? I think that's a pretty nice note to end this theory on anyway. So, I want to know from you guys, do you think this is Anne's plan? And do you think that Mazarine will be involved? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, if you did, I'll see you around. Bye!